The mockery begins. The great chamber of the Galactic Council glittered with cold silver light, its walls carved from crystal mined on a dead star. The seats of power were filled with alien leaders from across the galaxy, scaled, feathered, armored, and furred. Their voices rumbled, hissed, and clicked together in a chorus of superiority. And in the middle of it all stood a single human, Ambassador Kane. He was tall by human standards, but among the towering alien warlords, he looked small, fragile, even out of place. He wore a plain black suit with a simple Earth emblem on the chest. His dark eyes scanned the crowd, calm and steady. He did not bow. He did not smile. He only stood, silent, waiting. The aliens noticed his silence, and they laughed. Their voices echoed off the walls like thunder. "Is this the best your world can offer?" sneered a reptilian chieftain whose scales shimmered like steel. His fangs glistened under the chamber lights. "A creature with soft skin and weak bones? You are nothing more than animals who learn to play with fire." Another alien, feathered and tall, leaned forward with a mocking grin. "I heard humans still argue over water and dirt on their planet. You fight over scraps like children. And now you stand here, in our council, as if you belong." Laughter erupted again, cruel and sharp. Even the scribe's tiny insect-like creatures, who wrote every word buzzed with amusement. Kane did not move. His face showed no anger, no fear. He only blinked slowly, as if studying each insult, storing it deep inside. One of the oldest counselors, a being with glowing eyes set in a skull-like face, raised his long finger and pointed at him. "We invited humanity not to join us, but to remind you of your place. You are young, you are weak. And if we allowed you to speak, it is because your little planet amuses us. That is all." The hall thundered with agreement. Kane could feel the weight of 1,000 eyes pressing down on him. Yet still, he did not bend. The insults grew sharper. Humans breed like vermin. They smell of dirt and sweat. They should be grateful we do not use their planet as a prison colony. Every word was meant to cut. Every laugh was meant to humiliate. The galaxy's rulers looked down on Earth, as if it were dust under their claws. Kane's silence began to unnerve them. At first, they expected him to stammer, to beg, to plead for mercy or recognition. But he did none of that. He only stood, hands behind his back, shoulders straight, watching them like a teacher watches noisy students. The chamber grew restless. Finally, the reptilian chieftain slammed his clawed hand against the crystal table. "Speak, human. Do you not hear us? Do you not understand your shame?" Slowly, very slowly, Kane raised his head. His voice was calm, even soft at first, but it carried through the chamber with surprising strength. "I hear you," he said. "I understand every word." The hall quieted for a moment, caught off guard by his tone. Kane's lips curved not into a smile, but into something sharper, colder. "You think your words are insults," he said, "but to us, they are nothing. New, we have heard worse. We have survived worse. And the difference between you and us is that humans do not break when mocked." A ripple of confusion ran through the chamber. Some leaned forward. Some hissed. Others narrowed their eyes. The feathered alien scoffed. Bold words for a species that still crawls out of its mud. Kane tilted his head, almost amused. Bold. Words, yes. But truth has a weight heavier than any crown you wear. The silence deepened. For the first time, the laughter stopped. The alien leaders stared at him, waiting for what would come next. Kane's hand clenched into a fist behind his back. He could feel his pulse steady and strong. Every insult, every laugh, every sneer had been a spark. And now the fire was ready. He stepped forward, one pace into the center of the chamber. His voice hardened, each word falling like a stone. Mock us because you fear what you do not understand. You see soft skin, but you do not see the scars beneath it. You see a small planet, but you do not see the storms we have survived. You see weakness, but you do not see what we become when the galaxy calls us weak. The words hung heavy in the air. Every alien stared in silence, some with disbelief, others with unease. For the first time in that chamber's long history, the galaxy's rulers were not laughing, and Ambassador Kane was only just beginning. The first insult, the chamber air grew heavy after Kane's words. For the first time, the alien leaders had stopped laughing. Their glowing eyes, slitted pupils, and sharp beaks all turned toward him. His voice had been calm, but it had cut deeper than any blade. The reptilian chieftain leaned back in his throne, his armored tail scraping across the floor. His scales glittered under the council lights, but there was no amusement in his stare now. He hissed low, sharp. "You dare speak back to us?" he asked, his voice echoing like thunder. "You are a child in the dark, surrounded by giants. Do you think a few clever words will save your species?" The crowd murmured. Some laughed again, though it was weaker now. Others leaned forward with interest, sensing that something unusual was unfolding. The feathered alien, the tall one with bright golden plumes, rose to his feet. He spread his wings wide, showing off feathers polished like fire. His long beak clicked loudly. "Let me speak plainly," he said, his words dripping with arrogance. "You humans are tolerated here because we find you entertaining, like pets who learn to dance. You bring no wisdom. You bring no power. All you bring is noise. If we wanted, we could burn your world in a single day." The chamber erupted in cruel laughter once more. The insult was meant to be final, a hammer to smash whatever pride the human had left. But Kane did not flinch. Instead, a sound escaped. Him low, sharp, and unexpected. He laughed not, the laugh of a man trying to hide fear. Not nervous laughter. This was deep, real laughter that echoed through the council hall and bounced against the silver walls. The aliens froze. The laughter continued, bold and unshaken, like a challenge. The golden-feathered alien narrowed his eyes. "You dare laugh?" In the face of the council, Kane stopped. His face grew calm again, but his eyes burned with a steady fire. He looked directly at the feathered one. "Burn our world in a single day?" Kane said softly, "You speak as if it would be easy. But do you know what it takes to kill humanity? Do you understand what we've survived before you ever crawled out of your nests?" Murmurs filled the chamber. Aliens exchanged uneasy glances. Kane stepped forward, voice rising. "You insult us. You call us pets. You say we are nothing. But here is the truth. The galaxy has never known an enemy like humanity. Our own world tried to kill us 1,000 times ice ages, plagues, storms, wars. And yet we are still here." He paused. His eyes swept across the chamber, meeting the gaze of every ruler present. "You say you could destroy us in a day," he continued. "But how many days would it take before you realized we are not the ones being tested? You are." The silence that followed was absolute. The feathered alien opened his beak to respond, but no sound came out. The reptilian's tail thumped nervously against the floor. Even the insect scribes stopped scratching their notes for a moment, their antennae twitching. Finally, the skull-faced elder leaned forward, glowing eyes burning into Kane. "You dare turn your words against us?" An insult thrown at the galaxy itself. Kane's lips curved slightly, not a smile, something sharper. "Yes," he said, "an insult, and one you deserve." The hall erupted in chaos. Some shouted in outrage. Others hissed. A few looked shaken, as if Kane's words had struck something deep within them. The feathered alien slammed his wings shut and hissed. You think words make you strong? Words mean nothing in this chamber. Power does. And you have none. Kane's eyes did not waver. His voice dropped lower, colder, each word sharp as stone. Then perhaps you should fear the day humans decide to prove you wrong. The chamber grew still again. His words hung like a shadow over every delegate. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Galactic Council had been challenged. Not by a fleet, not by an army, but by a single human with only his voice. And though they tried to laugh again, the sound was weaker, broken, because deep inside, they felt it dot the first crack in their pride, the first insult that carried weight, and they knew this was only the beginning. Humanity's words, the chamber was still, shaking from Kane's bold reply. The Galactic Council had been insulted, and yet something in his voice made them hesitate. The mighty rulers who controlled fleets and empires found themselves silent before a single human. The reptilian chieftain broke the silence first. His scales rattled as his chest swelled. You speak too much, human. You spit words like fire, but words do not make armies. Words do not make power. Kane turned his head slowly toward him. His dark eyes locked with the reptile's golden. Ones. You're wrong, Kane said. His voice carried calm steel. Words have toppled kings. Words have ignited revolutions. Words have ended empires older than your own. And words, he leaned forward, are the first weapon humanity ever mastered. The chamber buzzed with whispers. Some of the aliens smirked, but many looked unsettled. The feathered alien slammed his wings against his sides and hissed, "This is arrogance, nothing more. You think your little planet's history means anything here. We are the galaxy. We are order. You are dust." Kane did not shout back. Instead, he stood straighter, letting his words fall heavy and slow. You say you are order? You call yourselves the galaxy? Then tell me, why do your people starve while you sit on thrones of crystal? Why do your fleets burn weaker worlds while you sit here and laugh? You hide behind power and call it peace. You enslave and call it law. That is not order. That is fear. The words cut deep. The insect scribes hesitated before writing, as if even they were afraid to record what had just been said. Gasps spread across the chamber. Some leaders bared their teeth in anger. Others clenched their claws. A few shifted in their seats, unable to meet Kane's steady gaze. The skull-faced elder leaned forward, glowing eyes bright as twin suns. His voice trembled with fury. You dare accuse the council? You dare to insult the very foundation of our rule? Kane's voice was steady as stone. Yes, I dare. The hall erupted in chaos. Voices rose in outrage. Claws slammed against tables. Wings spread in fury. But through it all, Kane stood unmoving, his presence like a black stone in the middle of a storm. At last, his voice cut through the noise like a blade. You laugh at humanity because we are small, because we are new, because you think we are weak. But listen carefully. We are the children of storms and fire. Our history is written in blood, in ice, in hunger. And every time the world tried to kill us, we survived. The reptilian's tail lashed the floor, but he did not interrupt. The feathered alien's wings twitched, but he did not speak. The skull-faced elder narrowed his glowing eyes, but even he waited. Kane continued, You mock our size. Yet no empire has endured longer than the scars we carry. You mock our weapons. Yet we built them not to enslave, but to free ourselves. You mock our hunger. Yet it was hunger that made us reach for the stars. He paused. The chamber was silent again. Every eye was fixed on him. Kane's voice grew sharper, colder. And now you mock us with words, thinking they can wound us. But hear this, he raised his hand. pointing at the council itself. Humanity does not break under insults. Humanity becomes stronger. The words slammed into the room like thunder. Gasps, whispers, uneasy shifts filled the air. For the first time in centuries, the alien leaders felt a ripple of doubt in their own chamber. The feathered alien finally found his voice, but it was shaky. You are only one man, one voice. What is this but noise? Kane's lips curved. Faintly, his eyes unblinking. One man, one voice, is all it takes to start a fire. The silence that followed was unbearable. Every alien in the chamber could feel it, the weight of those words, the sharpness of the human's defiance. And though they would not admit it out loud, many felt something they had never felt before when looking at a human. The hidden truth. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. No one dared laugh now. Kane's words lingered in the air like smoke after fire. For the first time, the rulers of the galaxy looked uneasy. The reptilian chieftain's golden eyes narrowed. His claws scraped the edge of the table as he leaned. Ford, you speak of survival as if it makes you strong. All creatures survive. That is not power. That is instinct. Kane's gaze did not waver. No, he said calmly. What we survived would have killed you all long before your empires were born. The alien stirred. Whispers rippled through the chamber. The feathered alien hissed. What nonsense is this? Do you think your small planet faced greater trials than entire star systems? Kane's voice grew sharper, heavier. You think Earth is soft because it is small. You think we are weak because we are young. You are wrong. Our world is not gentle. It has never been gentle. He took a step forward. His shoes clicked against the crystal floor, each step echoing across the hall. On our world, ice once covered the land for centuries. Our ancestors lived through endless winters, hunting beasts with nothing but stone and fire. We faced plagues that wiped out millions, storms that drowned cities, quakes that swallowed nations. We fought wars not for planets, but for food, for air, for survival itself. The chamber grew still. The insect scribes buzzed nervously as they etched his words. Kane's voice deepened. We did not survive because the world was kind. We survived because we learned to fight it. We adapted. We endured. We became something harder than the stone we carved, sharper than the blades we built. The skull-faced elder leaned forward, eyes glowing brighter. Can you believe this makes you stronger than us? Kane's eyes flicked toward him, unblinking. I know it does, he said. Gasps echoed across the room. Some aliens hissed, others clenched their claws. Kane pressed. On. His voice rose, steady and relentless. You call us insects. But what is an insect? Something small, something fragile. And yet, when they swarm, they bring down giants. When they adapt, they survive every poison, every trap. You mock us as vermin, but perhaps you should fear vermin, for they are the last to die. The words hit the chamber like a storm. The reptilian growled low, his tail whipping across the floor in anger. The feathered alien's wings flared in rage, but his eyes betrayed something else. Uncertainty. Kane raised his hand and pointed at them all. You build empires on easy soil. You rule worlds where nature bends to your will. You have forgotten struggle. You have forgotten pain. Humanity has not, and that is why you fear us. The silence that followed was deafening. The skull-faced elder broke it with a chilling whisper. Fear you? We do not fear you, human. You are a spark. We are the stars. Kane's lips curved slightly, the faintest shadow of a smile. Then, remember this, he said. Sometimes a spark is enough to burn the stars. Gasps, murmurs. Even some of the guards standing at the edge of the chamber shifted uneasily. The words were not just insult now, they were warning. The reptilian slammed his claw against the table, shattering part of the crystal edge. His voice roared, "Enough of this! You dare challenge the council with words alone?" Cain met his gaze without flinching. "If words can shake you this much, imagine what else humanity has hidden." The feathered alien hissed, "Empty threats. You have nothing. You are nothing." Cain's eyes hardened, his tone sharpening like a blade. "You want proof? You will have it." The hall stilled again. Every ruler leaned forward, tense. The human's voice carried a quiet power, a certainty that made even the strongest hesitate. In that silence, they began to wonder, what if he was not lying? What if humanity truly had more than words? The proof of power, the Galactic Council chamber, shook with anger, but also with fear. Cain's words had cut them open, and though they hissed and shouted, no one could deny the truth in them. Humanity had survived storms, plagues, wars, and death itself. If they could endure their own world, what else were they capable of? The reptilian chieftain slammed his claw against the crystal table. Shards scattered across the floor. "Enough riddles. Enough words. You stand here, human, in the heart of the galaxy, and you dare speak as if you are our equal. Show us, then. Show us what gives you the right to insult the council." The feathered alien leaned close, wings quivering with fury. "Yes. Prove your strength, if you have any, or crawl back to your dirt world in shame." The hall filled with hisses, roars, and mocking laughter. But Cain stood calmly, as if he had expected this. His hand moved to the communicator on his wrist. His voice, low and steady, echoed across the chamber. "Very well. You wanted proof. Look outside." The aliens frowned. Some turned toward the massive windows behind the council thrones. Beyond the shimmering glass lay the black sea of space, scattered with stars. At first, they saw nothing unusual. Then the stars disappeared. A shadow fell across the chamber. Whispers turned to gasps as the shape grew larger, blotting out entire constellations. It was not one ship, it was many. Human warships, massive, dark, silent. They slid into view like giants rising from the depths. Their hulls gleamed with scars of battles survived. Their cannons glowed faintly with stored energy. One by one, more ships arrived, surrounding the council world in a silent ring of iron and fire. The reptilian froze, his golden eyes wide. The feathered alien's wings twitched, trembling. Even the skull-faced elder's glowing eyes dimmed for a moment. Cain's voice broke the silence. "You mock us because you think we are small. But while you laughed, while you sneered, we built this. Fleets forged in secret. Engines that cross. Stars faster than light. Weapons that you cannot stop. We came here with words, but we did not come unprepared." The hall erupted in chaos. Leaders shouted over each other, some demanding answers, others screaming for guards. But the guards themselves were frozen, their eyes locked on the black shadows filling the skies. Cain raised his hand, calm, commanding. His voice was steady. "Do you see now? We are not begging to be part of your council. We are not asking for a seat at your table. We are showing you the truth." The reptilian's voice cracked with fury. "This is madness. You dare bring warships to the council's world?" Cain's eyes burned like fire. "I did not bring warships to start a war. I brought them to show you the reality you fear to face. You insult us because you think we are weak. But weakness does not build this." The chamber trembled as one of the human ships shifted in orbit. The faint hum of its engines vibrated through the walls, reminding everyone how close they truly were. The feathered alien stammered, his arrogance melting. This is not possible. Your world was nothing but a backwater. How could you?" Cain cut him off sharply. "Because you underestimated us. Because you thought humanity was still crawling in the dirt. But while you were busy conquering each other, we learned. We built. And we prepared for the day when your laughter would turn to silence. The silence fell again now, heavy and absolute. The aliens stared at Cain as if seeing him for the first time, not as a frail creature, not as an insect, but as something else entirely. The skull-faced elder leaned back, his glowing eyes narrowing. So this is your proof. You bring weapons into the heart of peace. Cain's voice turned cold. No, I bring truth into the heart of lies. Gasps. The hall trembled under the weight of his words. Cain lowered his voice, almost a whisper. You call this chamber the seat of power. But power does not sit in crystal halls. Power waits in the black of space. And now, it has arrived. Every alien in the chamber felt it then. The shift. The moment when laughter turned to silence, when arrogance turned to fear. Humanity had revealed its hand, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The final insult to chamber was no longer filled with laughter. The mighty rulers of the galaxy, who once mocked humanity as weak, now sat in silence, their eyes locked on the warships outside. Shadows from the human fleet stretched across the crystal walls, a reminder that Earth was no longer a planet to ignore. The reptilian chieftain's claws dug into the table. His voice trembled with rage. You dare bring your weapons into the heart of the council? This is a crime against the galaxy itself. Cain did not flinch. He stood tall, hands folded calmly behind his back. His dark eyes burned with quiet. Fire. You call it a crime. I call it honesty. For once, you see humanity not as your plaything, not as your pet, but as what we truly are. The feathered alien shook his wings in fury, feathers rattling like blades. Arrogance. You think showing ships makes you strong? Power without wisdom is nothing. You are still insects. You crawl in the dirt. Cain turned his gaze on him. Sharp as steel, his voice grew colder. Insects, he repeated. Then remember this, your empires fall not to giants, but to the smallest of swarms. You call us vermin, pests, children. But it is insects who survive every poison, every fire, every storm. It is insects who endure when empires rot. And it is insects who outlive gods. Gasps echoed through the hall. The insult cut deeper than any blade. The feathered alien froze, his beak snapping shut. His proud wings lowered, trembling. Cain stepped forward, his voice rising with power. You laugh at our small world. You call us weak. Yet here we stand, in the heart of your council, with ships above your skies and fire at your gates. Who is weak now? The chamber erupted. Some leaders shouted in rage, others whispered in fear. Guards gripped their weapons, uncertain whether to act. The insect scribes scratched nervously, their antennae twitching as they recorded every dangerous word. The skull-faced elder leaned forward, his glowing eyes narrow and unblinking. You dare insult the galaxy itself. You think your words make you untouchable? Cain's lips curved slightly, not a smile. Something sharper. I do not think it, he said. I know it. He let the silence grow heavy before continuing, each word striking like a hammer. You sit on thrones of crystal and call yourselves rulers. But you are nothing more than cowards, hiding behind titles and crowns. You speak of peace, but your hands are stained with blood. You speak of order, but your fleets enslave the weak. You dare insult us, but it is humanity that has seen the truth. You are not gods. You are parasites. The chamber froze. Every ruler sat stiff, their arrogance shattered. No one had ever spoken to them like this before. Not another empire. Not another species. And certainly not a human. Cain's voice grew even sharper, carrying through the entire chamber. You call us insects. Yet it was insects who learned to tame fire. It was insects who built machines that touched the stars. And now it is insects who stand before you, not as servants, not as pets, but as equals. And as your future judges. The reptilian slammed his fist down, his roar echoing through the chamber. Enough. You cannot insult the council and walk free. Kane's gaze burned into him. His voice dropped low, cold as ice. Watch me. Silence. Fell like a hammer. The warships outside shifted, their massive shadows crawling across the walls. Every alien felt the vibration of engines, the hum of weapons waiting. For the first time in history, the rulers of the galaxy looked powerless. Kane raised his head, his words final, heavy as stone. You call us weak. You call us insects. But today, humanity has given the galaxy a gift, a reminder that pride can be shattered with a single voice, and empires can tremble from a single insult. If this frightens you, he let his eyes sweep across the chamber, meeting every gaze. Then you have seen nothing yet. The silence was complete. Not one alien dared reply. The council that once mocked humanity now sat in stunned fear. And Kane knew, in that moment, that the insult had become something greater. It had become a warning. The galaxy silenced the Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Once it had echoed with laughter, insults, and arrogance. Now it was filled only with silence, heavy and sharp. The alien rulers sat frozen in there. Crystal thrones, their eyes fixed on the lone human standing in the center of the hall. Ambassador Kane did not move. His words still hung in the air, cutting deeper than any blade. Outside, the shadows of human warships drifted across the stars, their presence a constant reminder that Earth was no longer the weak, forgotten world the Council once mocked. Reptilian chieftain's chest rose and fell with slow, angry breaths. His claws dug grooves into the crystal table, but his voice, when he finally spoke, carried something that had never touched it before hesitation. You risk war with this display. Do you understand what you have done? Kane's eyes burned with calm fire. Yes, I understand perfectly. The feathered alien leaned forward, wings trembling. His voice cracked as he tried to muster arrogance. You have insulted the galaxy itself. You have no right to stand here and be silent, Kane said sharply. His voice cracked through the chamber like a whip. The feathered alien froze, his beak snapping shut. Gasps filled the hall. No one had ever dared speak to a counselor. Like that, Kane stepped forward, his words heavy and measured. You speak of war. You speak of peace. But you forget the truth. Humanity did not come here to beg. We came here to remind you that your thrones are not eternal, and your crowns are not sacred. You thought we would bow. Instead, we made you listen. The skull-faced elder's glowing eyes dimmed. His voice was soft, almost cautious. And what is it you want, human? Do you seek a place in our council? Do you demand recognition? Kane's lips curved, the faintest shadow of a smile. No, he said. We do not ask for seats at your table. We do not ask for your approval. We came here to give you a warning. The words fell like thunder. The chamber shifted. Every alien leaned closer, tense, waiting. Kane's voice hardened. You laughed at humanity. You called us insects. You thought we were too small to matter. But hear this. Humanity does not forgive insults. Humanity does not forget. Today, we have shown you words. Tomorrow, we could show you fire. If you ever dare to treat us as slaves or vermin again, the galaxy itself will remember this moment as the day its rulers learned fear. The chamber shook with silence. No one dared to reply. No one dared to move. The warships outside hummed faintly. a quiet song of power hanging above their heads at last, Kane turned his back on them. His steps echoed across the floor as he walked toward the chamber doors. Guards shifted nervously, unsure if they should stop him. None dared to try Dot before leaving. Kane paused at the threshold. Without looking back, he spoke one final sentence, his voice calm but sharp as steel. "If words hurt you this much, imagine what our weapons will do." The doors closed behind him with a deep final sound. The rulers of the galaxy sat in silence. For the first time in history, the mighty council had been left speechless, not by an empire, not by a war, but by a single human who dared to insult them. And in the quiet that followed, every alien felt the same cold truth, the age of mocking. Humanity was over. The age of fearing humanity had just begun.